I believe deeply, and listen closely because I tell all of my clients this, that if you're in the same company and you've been overlooked for a promotion or an opportunity more than once, there is something that someone is not sharing with you about your reputation. And this is the video where I'm going to unpack that. I'm Jen Tardy. I'm your career success coach. Let's get started. What's so interesting to me is the number of conflict avoidant managers. And I didn't truly get to see this until I entered leadership and I started working across different organizations. And I see it even more now as I'm working with more clients, that a big issue in the workplace are leaders who are conflict avoidant. And the idea of giving feedback or telling people exactly what's wrong that will allow them to course correct, the idea of doing that makes too many managers nervous. And so they'd rather avoid the whole topic, gaslight you just a little bit, all to not have to end up being that bad person or having that terrible conversation or having what they perceive to be that terrible conversation. And what happens is that the outcome of that means that you're going to keep staying in a position where where every time you vie for a new opportunity, you don't get it. And they'll make you believe that there's always something that needs to change. There's always something that makes you not yet ready for the next level. And there's nothing concrete. Everything that they're sharing with you is highly abstract, if anything. But I am here to tell you, and I'm going to say it again for the folks in the back of the room that may have missed this the first time. If you have been overlooked for an opportunity more than once within your organization, it's highly likely that there is something related to your reputation that someone isn't sharing with you. And so if you love the organization that you're working in and you know that you want to stay there and you know that you want to grow, there are actual things that you're going to have to do, unfortunately, to uncover what that perception is and to shift that perception. Or you can decide to go somewhere else if that's where you want to do. It is your right and your prerogative to go to an organization where you can grow. The challenge with perceptions is that perceptions are in the eye of the beholder. You know how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder? So too are perceptions. And if the right person perceives you in the wrong way, it may create the biggest barrier to your advancement that you've seen. I've watched people who've worked at companies for 10 and 15 years in the same position because of something that they did 10 years ago. So the number one thing that you're going to have to do is learn about how you are perceived in the organization. And you're going to have to likely do that through a person that meets a couple of these criteria. Number one, they can't be conflict avoidant. They have to be that person that will tell you exactly what it is without sugarcoating it. And that may not be your manager. It may be somebody else that your manager actually talks to. That's number one. Number two, this person has to have access or be privy to those conversations that are happening behind closed doors about how you're perceived. Because if they're not privy to it, how on earth are they going to tell you? And I also recommend you don't need to go to a friend. Because your friend may not be that person that's privy to those conversations, and your friend may also be that person that wants to make sure that it lands on you in a way that is easier for you to receive, which may not be the clearest way of telling you something. So if you were thinking about your friend and going to talk to them, no, don't go talk to them. Talk to somebody else. And it's likely going to be a person that a lot of people are afraid to have conversations with. So when you go to that person, invite them to be open and honest with you. Share with them more specifically. It's completely acceptable to say, hey, I've been trying to advance my career. I love working here. I want to advance my career, but I've been rejected a couple of times as I tried to do that. I was just watching this great video. And in this video, I learned that it's likely something about my reputation or something about my performance or behavior that I'm not privy to. And they recommended that I come and talk to someone who's not conflict avoidant, and someone who may know. And so if there's anything that you can offer me by way of feedback that can help me to better understand how my performance is perceived in this organization, I invite you to share that with me, because I want to take the steps to change that perception and see what they say. And that's step number one. Step number one is having the courageous conversation. Step number two is now doing the work. So you may have thought that I was going to say step number two is to try and change people's minds. I wouldn't spend as much time trying to change people's minds and go back and forth with, but you're wrong, but you're wrong, but you're wrong. When you go to someone and you ask them for their feedback, your only goal is to listen to it. You might not like what you hear, but this is the honest perception. And if it's stopping your career, it's likely not just one person that has that perception. That's why number two is about shifting that perception of you. Doing what's necessary to change that. So let's say that the perception is when you're in meetings that you never engage in meetings. As a matter of fact, you look pretty disengaged. Now, you may know that you're highly engaged. Maybe you're an introvert. Maybe you're shy. Maybe you don't have the right words to say, or maybe you've just been unprepared at the last few meetings. But in this meeting, in these next few upcoming meetings, you're going to be more intentional about leaning in and showing engagement. Now, having an opinion, putting the opinion on the table, and responding to other people's opinions, you're going to actually show the difference. That is how you begin to shift your perception in the workplace. And then you're going to have a conversation with your boss and with this other person that you've already had the initial courageous conversation with, and you're going to invite them to observe the changes. Because if they don't know that you're going to actively work on it, they're probably not even looking for it, because they probably already set it in their mind that this is who you're always going to be. But now, with you inviting them to observe your active effort to shift those perceptions, now you can get a different conversation going. Because you can't sit in those behind closed door conversations, you're engaging the two people who will sit in those behind closed door conversations. You see how this works now? And now behind closed door, they're putting a different perception of you out there. Now remember, you don't have to do any of this. You can choose to leave the organization, but for those of you who love where you work and love what you're doing, I want to help you to feel empowered that you can make a change. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And that is how you work to shift the narrative. In my Offer Magnet Job Seeker program, I actually go way more in depth with the specific steps to do to change things, to turn around your workplace reputation. And so if you're interested in that, you can find a link below to join our Offer Magnet Job Seeker program, where you'll get to work with yours truly to help you as not only you're navigating your external job search, but maybe you're navigating your internal promotional efforts. Again, making sure in this video that you know about our newest guide. It's a new resource. It's a free resource for you that's called The Miseducation of the Underrepresented Job Seeker, where I go all in on the 10 areas where we've been misguided along the way when it comes to our beliefs on our job search. And I clear those up. I demystify a couple of those beliefs so that it can help you to go all the way in on your career path. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I'm Jen Tardy. I'm your career success coach. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.